Hi everybody, Dalton Mack with Seconds Count Training Solutions. My first video back is not going to be about tactics, firearms, or firearm safety. It is going to be about severe weather, as you can tell from the board. What I want to talk about with severe weather definitely impacts a lot of people across America in various ways. My region in southeast Missouri just got hit pretty heavily with a bunch of tornadoes, heavy wind and rain, and floods. There are a lot of people's homes and family dynamics that will never be the same, be that the tragic loss of family members or just complete homes and property and everything completely destroyed or wiped off the state, the planet, whatever you want to say. So while those things are sad and those things are tragic, some things aren't avoidable. The truth is some things are. There are things that you can do to take steps to make sure that you and your family remain safe. Notice I didn't say steps to make sure your house, your car, your belongings remain safe. But there are things that you can do to make sure that you and your family stay safe and prepared for situations like this. I had earthquake up here at some point as weather, but I wanted to keep it more stuff you can, in a sense, plan for. Earthquakes, to my knowledge, usually are just going to kind of hit. There might be some rumblings. All of these, for the most part, come with quite a bit of warning that you do have some time to prepare for. It may not be long, but there is time. First thing to do is understand what season are you in. Here in Missouri, we have tornado season. We're going through it / kind of just started, almost ending, it feels like, by looking outside. Tornado season. That's awesome. We've kind of made it through it. That doesn't mean keep doing the same stuff you did and wait till next year and then ride it out again. That's a huge pet peeve of mine. People go, oh man, we barely made it. Our house did this, or we didn't have this. Wish we would have had, and then they repeat that year after year. With what I've been doing, teaching people and talking to people, you see that repeat a lot, where people do not take the steps after they realize it. They'll make a mental note of, I need to get this, I wish I had this, and then they don't get it. So we're going to talk about things that you can do right now. Go to the dollar store and you can do most of this. All right, so to get into it, we'll talk a little bit about what these are and what they can cause, what you can expect as a homeowner or somebody living. Who cares if you own a home, renting, staying in a tent, whatever you're doing. So tornadoes, obviously, hot and cold air mixing, swirling around, picking stuff up, putting stuff down, ruining lives. It happens. Heavy wind and rain, usually with tornadoes, you're going to get heavy wind. If you don't get hit with the tornado, you're going to get extremely high winds like we got at our home. Rain came with that also. I found out the house that I just bought, I found out pretty much very quickly where every spot that holds water is in the home, or on the home, around the home. Hurricanes, never really been through a real one. I'm going to say, and it may be incorrect, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I'm going to say that it comes with a lot of the precautions of tornadoes as far as steps that you can do. But they also lead into flooding, which tornadoes usually don't necessarily do, but it can come with it. So nothing I'm saying here is going to be super specific to one type of storm. After I take this off the whiteboard, we're just going to talk about general preparedness and what you as an individual can do. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off. And I'm going to begin by saying, at the end of the day, as a person, and I won't shy away from it, as a man, it is your responsibility to take care of your family. If you have a plan inside your head, which is the most important thing, is having a plan. If you have a plan inside your head and you say, ah, don't worry, I've got it, I know what I'm doing, you're wrong. If your wife, husband, whatever your dynamic is, I don't give a shit, but whatever your dynamic is, it is your job to relay that information. You don't have to lay down every nitty gritty. It wouldn't hurt if you did, but make sure that whoever you're living with, children, family, whatever, understands the plan. So I'm going to change colors here. I'm going to write plan in big red letters. Plan. That is the most important aspect of surviving these storms or any weather event that comes your way. Me saying, hey, not even a storm, if the house catches on fire, I know what we're going to do, and you don't communicate that, and you go to work. We all spend a lot of time at work. I spend time at work. My fiance spends time at work. Our child spends time at school. A lot of the times we are separated. What are they going to do if I'm at work and a fire happens? It doesn't make sense to not tell them. So with that plan, have a backup plan as well. If your plan for the cellar, say we have a cellar, I'm not going to speak as if everybody does, but we have one. Our plan is go to the cellar if the weather gets bad enough. If something were to happen to the cellar, be it flooded or something fell in front of it or it's blocked, can't open it, we're going to go inside, go to the most interior room of our home, and cover up with as much protective layers as possible, like mattresses, sheets, blankets, pillows, whatever we can find to protect ourselves. That is our family plan. Yours may be different. You might have a full basement that's completely ready to rock and roll, and if you do, awesome. You might have nothing, and you might live in a trailer. If you live in a trailer, there's not a lot you're going to be able to do, truly, except hope for the best, and again, try to cover up as best as possible. That's really kind of the options you're left with. I'm going to talk about with that plan, what items can you use that will help you make the time a little more comforting. We lost power for about 3 days, I think it was here. Now, we have a generator. Awesome, glad we do. It's an honor and a privilege to have one. I understand that, that's not lost on me. Not everybody does, and I've went through many storms in my life without them. I don't recommend candles. Everybody jumps to candles for storm situations. People moving around, candles are there, stuff gets knocked over, you're trying to do that, it's dark, power's already out, resources are out. I don't recommend having candles. Have some flashlights, something battery powered. Don't use your phone. Have some actual things that you can set in rooms or whatever and use as necessary. For every light that you have, you need at least one spare set of batteries, not a pack of 4 batteries for 19 flashlights, because you probably haven't checked them in a year. That's being real. You probably haven't checked them in multiple years. You just throw them in a bag. Make sure that's good. Make sure you have good, ready to go batteries that can be swapped out in the event that they're needed. Strongly recommend getting an NOAA radio, something that is constantly projecting information and keeping track of the storm as you're going about the night. Keep it on with you at night. In our situation, when the weather came through the first time, it was fairly late, and I didn't have the radio on. Just didn't. We ended up getting notified from my fiance's family that, hey, there's a tornado heading toward you guys, and sure enough, there was one fairly close to us. And if it wasn't for that, we would have just slept through it. We would have been fine, but we would have woke up going like, man, that was close. So have a radio. If you know severe weather's coming, have it turned on. You're probably gonna have to get one off Amazon. There's not many left in Walmarts right now that I've found, or whatever place you go to shop. I'm still super classy. I go to Walmart pretty frequently. But have a plan, implement this gear into that plan. You're gonna want food, water, drinks, things like that. Have them all in a bag, a duffel bag. It doesn't have to be a fancy big bag. Just go get something, a tote, to put all of this stuff in. Label it storm and don't touch it. The hardest thing that I'm believing I'm gonna run into is when my toddler grows up and she wants to start messing with things, and the new addition to our family, when she grows up and wants to start messing with things, I'm probably gonna have a bunch of flashlights and stuff come up missing. We'll see how that goes. But try your best to have it clearly labeled, clearly marked. That way, if you have forgotten to label or to tell your family your plan, you are able to relay that or give them that box full of equipment, that bag, and hopefully they can figure that out. If whoever you're with does open the box and they look inside of it and say, I know nothing about any of this, that's not their fault, that's yours. You should have told them, hey, this is the box for this. Here's a quick rundown of what things do. It's not insulting intelligence, it's making sure that your family survives a situation when it's presented to them. Blankets are going to be a good idea. I also suggest a change of clothes. I personally keep a change of clothes in our storm bag just in case we have to go outside and it gets super wet and rainy and we're not able to come back in for a period of time and change. Or if everything's completely flooded and shot, your mentality will drastically improve if you put on fresh underwear, fresh socks, and fresh clothes as soon as you can, as soon as it makes sense. You will be able to think more clear, and you will be able to make better decisions for your family from that point forward. Another big one, first aid kit. Keep what you are, I won't say trained, but what you are prepared to use, right? Don't go out and buy some $400 medical kit with like 9 Band-Aids and 18 tourniquets or something, and then not need them. Have a nice first aid kit that covers all the bases that you will be able to use in the event something happens. The reality is, during severe storms, you may be inside and glass shards, furniture, pieces of the home, yard debris, if you live like us near a field debris, there's all kinds of stuff that can come flying toward you. And even though we're only outside for a split second making it to the cellar, it's still very possible that we could get hit by something, branches, whatever. And there's no sense in bleeding out in a cellar or having something. Another big one that we don't think about a lot is going to be Band-Aids. Super important. Check any of my other videos or any posts I've ever made anywhere. Band-Aids are, I think, some of the most underrated things in first aid because it's not sexy, it's not cool to carry a pack of Band-Aids, right? It's not cool to, next to your tourniquet or your 18 tourniquets on your belt, having a pack of Band-Aids, but those are super important. All kinds of stuff gets kicked up in storms, bacteria, dirt, things that carry diseases, all kinds of stuff ends up there. You do not want to get cut and then go digging around in muddy poop water trying to find your keys or whatever just to get that cut infected. It is super important to be able to sterilize, clean, and keep that wound covered as much as possible during this time. Even a small cut can go really, really south very quickly just from working in abnormal conditions. Just trust me on that. Please do that. Get a pack of Band-Aids and some ointment and stuff to seal that wound, no matter how small. Just cover it up. Don't try to dig man and be like, oh no, I love digging in shit with my cut open hands. Don't do that. All right. Now we've got, that's all stuff for like during the storm. So what can you do before the storm? If you know it's coming, maybe you know the tornado or whatever's in your path, you know it's coming, what can you do? Lock your doors. That's not necessarily for looting or anything like that. That's so you have something else holding your door in place while the high winds are potentially beating the crap out of your home. You don't want everything swinging open, all that stuff getting left inside. At the end of the day, what's most likely to happen is your yard gets messed up and some windows might get broken, but your house overall is still probably going to be livable. And you want to keep it that way. If you can prevent your house from getting saturated with water and dirt and dust, why not do that? Lock your doors. Taping windows, not necessarily for the reason I grew up thinking. I grew up thinking for whatever reason that taping windows would just protect them and add an extra layer of security. In reality, what taping windows is going to do if something does happen is it's going to keep everything from shattering, right? Hopefully you're able to clean up bigger chunks as opposed to small shards everywhere. Maybe you're able to pick up a palm-sized piece of glass as opposed to 2,000 or 20,000 like shards, like little tiny ones and stuff, cutting your hands all up trying to do that. If your window's going to break, it's going to break, right? Tape's not going to fix that. Start listening to your radio beforehand. Get that on that NOAA radio that we talked about earlier. Start listening, be prepared, and keep that on throughout the duration of the storm if possible. That also is going to allow you to save your phone. Again, please do not use your phone as your light, your radio, and your means of communication during that time. Please. That's just for your benefit, because you might need your phone after the fact to call for emergency services if necessary. We're going to talk about that. Or to check on family, right? You might need it then, but you used it for a flashlight all day and all night, and now you don't have any way to talk to people. If you know it's coming, you can shut off gas and water if you know how to do so safely and properly. Contact whatever local agency, blah, 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 whatever covers my ass, right, for saying this. But if you can shut off your gas and your water, that might help you. That way, if something does break, you don't get a gas and or a water leak, destroying the inside of your home or causing you to pass out in the middle of the night. So, during the storm, while you're doing all this beforehand, I'm going to put another word up here in big blue letters. Calm. Throughout all of this, it is imperative that you stay calm. You do not let your emotions get the best of you. You don't freak out. Multiple people in a household freaking out is not going to be good, and it's going to lead to poor decisions and probably arguments, because if you say, hey babe, I think we need to head down to the cellar, and she says, I don't think so, you know, so-and-so's sleeping. This actually didn't happen. We did this very well. I was proud of both of us. But this could have easily happened. I don't know, she's sleeping, I don't want to wake her up, and it's like, well, we need to go now. Well, no, we don't know for sure. And it becomes an argument. Have a plan, execute it calmly, and everything is most likely going to play out pretty okay. That backup plan, if your first plan goes, you already have a plan set in place that if this doesn't work, then this is what we do. And that's super important. No plan survives first contact. No plan is going to completely survive a major storm, but it gives you the road work to get to where you need to be safely. If you see me looking down, it's because I've got notes taped to my phone here. I want to make sure that I hit everything that I've been thinking about over the last few days. So I'm just actually going to pop up here. Boom. All right. So storm's over. Everything's good. Your family's alive because you had a plan and executed it calmly. Your family's okay. Now what? Something I recommend every household have for various reasons, but particularly this one, is going to be a fire extinguisher. That's something that I've seen happen during the winter storm that we had up around where I work, where people's houses were catching on fire, be that from lightning or meters coming off their house and the overhead stuff. I forget all these terms. The overhead things falling, making fire, sparks, things like that. Have a fire extinguisher, because you don't want to be fighting a fire, having the fire department come fight a fire in the dark or in the ice or whatever if they don't have to. It's just going to be a mess. So a fire extinguisher is going to be very important. Make a lap around your house. After that's all said and done, make a lap, see what's going on, bring a flashlight out. I'm not saying you have to go out and get soaked and stand out there like an idiot, but check, see if there's something on the outside that could be a problem that isn't a problem right now. While you're outside, be mindful, still very mindful of those power lines we talked about. Weatherhead, that's the word I was looking for. Power lines coming from your weatherhead, down trees, branches that haven't fell yet. Keep that stuff in mind, shine up, see what you've got going on. Take an inventory of what damage your house took. If it didn't take any damage, awesome. But it's most likely going to be dark, so check then. Check again in the morning if you have time. If everything looks good, go ahead and return your utilities. Again, if you know how to do so safely, blah, 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 blah. Return your utilities back to normal, and hopefully your family is able to go back to living a normal life after the storm. Hopefully nothing too crazy happened. Continue monitoring the storm. That's a huge one. Just because one round went through does not mean that there's still not crazy wind or crazy stuff coming your way, or a second tornado. There were some areas that got hit back to back while this last month or so of weather was going on. Monitor that so you don't go outside and think, oh, everything's good, and go to bed. You might have another worse one coming your way behind it. Now, this one is gonna make me sound a little bit like a dick, that's fine. Understand what an emergency is, okay? In the aftermath of a storm. In the aftermath of a storm, a lot of people lose their mind. People can't get a hold of family. People can't get a hold of friends. People are wondering how everybody's doing, and everybody immediately starts calling. I will never tell you not to check on your friends and family. I will never tell you not to make sure that those you love are okay. What I will tell you is understand that a tree in the road, in the moments after a storm, a tree in your road blocking your driveway or whatever is not an emergency. I won't say what department I work for or whatever, but we ran into that where everybody started calling all at once after a storm was over, and a lot of it was not an emergency. What that does is that ties up emergency services. Now they're trying to cut up a tree in your yard that caused no damage, or a tree in your road that caused no damage, and they're not able to get to medical calls with somebody who's maybe their life monitoring equipment failed them during the storm or something like that. So please understand what an actual emergency is, and not just an inconvenience to you or your life. You don't need everybody showing up to, I don't know, unflood your truck when nobody's in it, and now you've got somebody that can't get actual medical care that they need, or actual police things, police activity, whatever cops do, might not be able to get to them because they're handling something super small. The biggest pet peeve I have during storms, the absolute biggest 100%, is rubberneckers and nosy people. Stay away, right? Here's the reality. Big storm, the one we had in Poplar Bluff. I don't know the families. My heart goes out to them. I could not imagine losing family to something so sudden and so unexpected like that. The reality is their family members are gone. That's life. Their family members have left this earth because of this storm, and the first thing people want to do is go see it. I think that's stupid. I understand it's curiosity, morbid curiosity especially, same thing you see on highways or interstates with wrecks, but it grinds my gears that as soon as the storm's over, people want to leave and start driving around and looking at stuff. The houses will still be gone, the cars will still be overturned, and the people will still be dead when it's daylight. Give it a little bit of time before you go, like, I gotta go see what's going on. No one cares that you're first on scene. No one cares that you're the first people there to take pictures and show everybody on Facebook. Property's still damaged, lives are still destroyed, and people are still dead. Stay in your home, be thankful that you made it through, and wait till the next day to go assess the damage. You're gonna get in everybody's way that's trying to actually make the situation better and not just come look at it. I'm sorry if I took a tone, but that frustrates the hell out of me when people go and just, I wanna go look at death and destruction. I don't know what to tell you. Stay at home, everything will still be the same. It's not gonna get cleaned up overnight. It'll still be the same. So to wrap everything back up in a big bow and put a bow on this discussion, at the end of the day, your life and your family's life are your responsibility and yours alone. Everyone else's plans, thoughts, and ideas, including my own, are just tools or secondary opinions. Do what's best for you and your family to make sure that you are able to survive as comfortably as possible any event that might come your way. At the end of the day, I don't care about your family more than mine. You don't care about my family more than yours. So rely on yourself, gather as much information as possible, and implement these things to make sure that you and your family get out of these situations as safe as possible. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, be smart, and remember that seconds count.